Welcome to another episode of Cyrus Podcast. Today, my good friend Akwafei today. Bro, thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure,
I appreciate you for making the time.
My pleasure.
You know, you work for a product at Nike, creating the tools that every athlete in the world uses, which is in football, right?
Yeah.
Soccer.
Yeah.
Right? Which is freaking amazing. Former professional athlete. I want to talk about like before you were a professional athlete, before you like where are you from? What did you like? When did you realize that you wanted to play soccer or be even involved in it?
Yeah. So, born and raised here on the west side of Los Angeles. Family grew up here in Gardena, so that's where my parents raised us. I have 3 siblings. We all introduced to the game at a young age. But I had more of a love for basketball. Wanted to be like Allen Iverson. That was my goal. There was no one stopping me. Had the headband on, the whole thing, baggy clothes. Like, that was the goal. So played middle school ball, did it all. At age 13 or at age 12, my parents thought that it was best for me to move to Cameroon for boarding school. So, so I spent my 8th grade in boarding school, in Cameroon, which would be called Form 3. So I went to Sacred Heart Bamenda, which is like an all, boarding school. Everything that you think boarding school is, all boys boarding school is 100% it. And it was impactful, you know what I mean? So I got to see the roots, the family, everything like that my parents would like kind of teach us and culture us here in the US, but see it in a bigger scale. And of course, out there, football was a sport. Like, that's what they played. Basketball was almost second-handed. Like, basketball was going on. So I played for the school team.
For basketball?
For basketball.
Okay.
Right? So really pushing that. And, I'd go out during, like, break or recess, and I'd watch players play and stuff like that. I'm like, dang, they're good. Like, I'm not about to step on pitch. Let me just enjoy my sport. And then when I came back to the U.S., all my younger brothers were playing. All right? Like, my youngest was with all the top teams and within club with South Bay Force, which is no longer around. But so that was kind of like one of the top teams in the South Bay of Los Angeles. Yep. And so I told my dad, Dad, I'm serious. I want to play. And he's like, how serious are you? Kind of thing. Yeah. I was like, no, I'm serious. I really want to play. Yeah. So he signed me up for under 16 AYSO, but I also played Sunday League. So I played Sunday League soccer, right? And that age group is like 13, 14, 15, 16, whatever you come on the day. And I also played under 16 AYSO for North Torrance. So that was like my first like real...
Like 14, 15?
14, 15. That was my first real introduction to like organized sports.
Wow.
And then I met a good friend named Enrique Murillo at AYSO, who was from Gardena as well. He's like, yo, come try out for the high school team. Yeah. Went out to the high school team. I was like, try? Like, oh, no, you're good. Come try. You'll make it. And so when we had our tryout, the coach kicked the ball up. He lined everybody up on the goal line, kicked the ball up and said, yo, trap it. I missed it probably 2-3 times. And he's like, he looked at it, he's like, yo, who brought this guy? He's like, get this guy out of here. So I had to leave. And I told him, I was like, look, I'm going to come back. I'm going to make a club team. I'm going to come back, make a club team. I'm going to make this team. I'm going to play. So I didn't play high school soccer until junior year of high school.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I stepped on pitch on the high school team, I had athletic abilities. So I played defense. I was playing like as a sweeper, as sweepers were back in the day. Yeah. So I played sweeper for my high school team up to my senior year, where I kind of had a little bit more of leverage because I was a senior and I wanted to play in college. And I told the coach, like, hey, I want to move forward. So I went from AYSO and Sunday League to playing for South Bay Gunners, right? Okay. Played for South Bay Force as well under Paul Crumpy. And then, and then it was time to pick to college, where I wanted to go to college. Had different offers and situations, but nothing really stood out for me, or that's where I wanted to take my next step. But I was also connected to the people that brought me closer to the game, which was my friends. Because without them, I wasn't going to play. So that same friend I had, Enrique, he went to Harbor College in San Pedro Harbor area. Yeah. And so a group of them were like, hey, just come play with us. And so I've always played up in years. And so I was like, all right, you know what, maybe this is a good idea. So I went to Harbor College and I played 2 seasons there. And then after Harbor College, same thing, got some offers. And I didn't want to be in Los Angeles anymore. Yeah. So I wanted to go somewhere away. And so I had got a call from Chico State. No clue where they were.
Wow.
Didn't know what they were. Like, no clue. right? And he's like, yeah, no, we'll offer you bang, bang, bang. And I'm like, all right, cool. And a good friend of mine, George Cervantes, was also being recruited by the same schools I was. We were like, our senior year, we're kind of doing things, our sophomore year in junior college, doing this, pair duo. And so we went on this recruiting trip to Chico, and after the first day, I was like, this is probably where we want to go to school. It was awesome. Like, the campus was small. It was easy access. It just felt like a real community, and it was different from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Real green. The people in the community knew each other, and that's something that like I wanted to be involved with, especially being, growing up in Los Angeles, big city. It's everything they say, to like a small town up north. You know what I mean? And as well as like, I've always kind of lived life to wanting to like write my own story. A lot of guys from Los Angeles ended up at Cal State LA or Dominguez Hills or UCLA or all these different places. And I hadn't really heard anything about Chico. And I was like, okay, I can be that first person to go there and just kind of do my own thing. Yeah. So like throughout this time, going pro was never really something I wanted to do. Yeah. And it was after my year at Chico State, did well individually, different accolades and stuff like that. And someone said, yo, I think you can go pro as a right back. At the time, I was a striker or a winger, and I'm like, bro, what you mean a right back? I took that personally. I was like, right back, you know what I mean? So dedicated time, and that's where I pushed. My senior, I ended up I didn't play my senior year of college. I redshirted that year, and reason being was my junior year, though I got all those accolades and stuff like that, I felt that younger me felt that I was being used as just an impact player, not knowing that, as you know, there's rules as you get older in this game, right? And a role will get you as far as it can get you. And so I was playing a role that I didn't like, and the returning class, because remember I was a transfer, was going to be a bunch of the same players. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm better off waiting a year and starting and playing and doing everything that I felt well. So I told the coach, I was like, yo, I feel like I'm going to focus on my academics this year.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, what do you mean? Like that? Like, there's no way. You can't do this. Like, and I'm like, look, I really just want to focus on school. And a bit of it was true. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I felt like not playing as much as I felt that I earned made me make that call to just like, maybe I do need to focus on my academics and not slip up. And because, at the end of the day, being the firstborn in your family, like there is some pressure to this, like, and it's, you want to do right for its own. And I want to show my brothers that, like, if this is the path that is for us, going to college and getting an education, everyone has a different path. But if this is the path that I'm laying in front, that of course my parents have given their all for, like, I need to show the best representation of that. So took the year off, did that, came back that next year, and it was a complete rebuild year. Started off hot, and then fell off when we came down to LA, which is one of the hardest trips because you play Dominguez Hills on Friday and Cal State LA on Sunday. Yeah. Which is like extremely tough, two different styles of play. Both results were like, again, another, I feel like, learning moment for me in life was really tight games, could have walked away with a tie, last minute mistake by a younger player, we get scored on. And end result, at the time, younger me is looking at these players like, dang, it's your fault. When in reality, me as a senior player, last couple minutes, I should have stepped up, I should have been a voice. Right, I should have led, but I was so focused on me that didn't happen. So that was, I feel like looking back at college, it's,
it's a different experience, right? Like when you look at it from like the lens of like where you're at with the wisdom that you have now, and you look and these players are going through exactly what we went, like that thought process. It's like, no, let me show you a different way, But that's part of the experience of doing it, right? Now, what I'm curious about, because like, look, like you went on to, after college, to going on and playing pro. Right? And like very unconventional process here. like to say the least, right? Like like very unconventional. Like, first you want to be AI. You want to be Allen Iverson.
My crossover was nasty.
And then you switch up to becoming to being 14, 15 and playing AYSO.
Yeah.
Like, what did that look like as far as a daily basis of like training? Like, you're what, 10 years behind some of these kids?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, what does that technically look like?
Yeah.
Right? Like, we could talk
Yeah.
about the work ethic, but like technically, like,
Yeah, it was hours, and again, like I felt like I'm sounding like Michael Jordan saying I took it personally, but like, it was, oh, play AJ over the top. I kept hearing that, and it was just like, no, I want it to my feet.
yeah,
Right? So it was hours working on my feet. And again, like you hear hours and people go, oh, well, you could put in hours, right? And you may not ever see results.
Yeah.
But it's how the hours were being put in. I went simple. I took a ball off the wall, inside the foot, bang, 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 right foot 100 times. Rotate, left foot, bang, 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 focus on the technique, right? And after that, 2-touch. After that, calling my brother and going at it with my brothers off the wall, like handball, but with our feet. So like it took the hours to learning how to receive the ball. The first step is learning how to receive. If you can't receive the ball, there's not much you can do.
yeah,
You got to receive to strike. You got to receive to pass. You got to receive to go on a dribble,
yeah,
right? So really owning in on that receiving part, but then also still being true to my superpowers. I was athletic. Not ashamed of it. I'm happy about it, right? And I feel like having that confidence of like, okay, now I'm receiving, right? Now I can receive the ball. I have pace. What can I do? I got to dribble, right? So when I look at the players that like really impacted my game, the Robinhos, the R9s, right? The Ronaldinhos. Those are the guys that I stood up, literally up late watching YouTube videos and trying to learn how to play like them. Even Cuauhtemoc Blanco. Like literally those players were the guys that I looked at and they were on the ball. So I was like, I want to be on the ball. So a lot of my goals that I scored from like 14 to probably 18 were legit. One, when I first started, over the top, running in, touched by the keeper, finish.
yeah,
Touch, falling down, real fast, touch.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it became, okay, boom, getting on the ball earlier, taking players on, and then scoring.
Yeah.
Like that was the typical AJ goal,
yeah,
right? And as I furthered on into my career, and to your point, like trying to catch up to people, to the point where I signed my first pro contract here in the U.S.,
yeah,
my coach, Barry Venison, I remember like it was yesterday, he's like, if I take away your pace, I take away your dribbling ability, how else can you impact the game? I got to develop my passing,
yeah,
right? And you think about it, you go, well, you're an attacking player. Why do you want to develop? Because to his point, it's like, if they go, okay, AJ, they're going to man mark you, and they play you tight, and you can't turn or whatever it may be, and your teammates don't trust to play to your feet because there's a man on you, and you have to figure something else. It was then, how can I create space from the defender, receive with enough time in the pocket, right? And then make a decision with the ball. So I really got good. So my like rookie year, I was dishing. If you can go grab a video of me, one of my assists, just like figuring out how to dink a little ball over the top off a back line, playing in little balls in behind. So I really owned in on the art of passing and creating opportunities. So I went from that to probably my second year as a pro, and they're like, oh, AJ doesn't score outside the 18. And again, Michael Jordan, I took it personally. I was like, okay, cool. So like it was an MLS scout who said, hey, someone needs to spend time with Akwafei Ajeakwa around the 18, working on finishing outside the 18, because they saw the diving headers, they saw the sliding tackles, the sliding goals, they saw the tap-ins, they saw everything that happened inside the 18. But in order for me to go to that next step, to be valued more, they wanted to see if I can create from outside the 18. So that's where Toka came about. And I was telling you earlier that like I focused on that technical ability. I just worked on striking, just the technique of it, reps, like hours, right? Opening day against LA Galaxy, maybe a little bit personal, right? Score outside, if you grab the goal, score from outside the 18, across the box. It was insane. Literally ran to the sideline, called everybody over. I was like, what they say I could do, I couldn't do what? Like what they say? You know what I mean? So that was also another big moment in my life. So I would say hours, but the right type of hours. I feel like in today's game, a lot of players are putting in so many hours, but like they're working so holistically over the game where things aren't sticking.
Yep.
And my advice to it would be like, break down your year of development. You don't have to be great now. Slow down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't got to be great now.
I
Break
love
it
that.
down where you're focusing on something. Own it, master it, go apply it to training, go apply it in a game. And when you're feeling confident, you know you've got it.
Yeah.
Then you can move on to the next part of your game that you want to develop.
Step by step.
Yeah.
You know what I think is a trip? Is like, you train World Cup athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we got connected, right? Like, it's a trip, right? Like, if you really break this down, you train World Cup soccer players in their technique. And when you think about that, process-wise, you think like, oh, this guy's probably one of the best players growing up, went pro early, yada, yada, yada. But like, again, it has nothing to do with that. It was, you just went and you said, okay, yeah, I'm behind, but I'm going to outwork everybody. And I'm going to just put in daily work to get a little bit better every day.
Yeah.
To where it compounded eventually.
Yeah.
Or maybe some other people that you had, or friends or whatever, because I know it happened with me as an athlete, like they gave up.
Yeah.
Like,
that's it, right? It's like, I think when you go again into the hours basis and it's patience.
Yep.
It's enjoying it, right? You got to enjoy. And I try to tell a lot of young players now, like, they'll be tough on themselves. Like, no. You're out here putting extra hours in when no one else is.
Yep.
You're out here trying to make yourself better. You're out here focusing on you, and the moment you can, like, enjoy the process. It's not always going to be sweet, but the moments that you can look back to is these type of moments here where you didn't quit, where you didn't give up. You know what I mean? And that's big. You know?
And that's that I think what sport teaches us more than anything is like that, like, nonstop, like, you really can't accomplish anything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now fast forward, you're not playing professionally anymore.
Yeah.
You're on the product team for Nike.
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Jeez, man, when I tell you dreams do happen, it's like, if you would have asked me, AJ, 5 years ago, a year ago, do you see yourself working on Nike's product creation team for global football? I mean, to work with Nike is a dream, right? I feel like everyone has that, I want to be a Nike athlete, and that was me, right? When I got the call, I was in awe, not too sure if like it was this real. When I started to go through the process and they started to discuss like the type of person they were looking for, and I would look in the mirror, I started to realize, dang, this is me.
Yeah.
So when I was going through the process, I just got more confident. You know what I mean? Because I felt like I was like, I'm at home. This is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
It just makes sense. Like, everything is coming together, and it's like you go through your different hardships in life, and to a point, to be honest with you, I didn't know what was next. I was at Toka football for years.
Yeah.
Right? I've kind of done it. I did it almost all. Right? I was a trainer. I was a AGM. I was an assistant general manager. I was an interim general manager. I helped open up new acquisitions.
Yeah.
Right? I was on the standardizations of training sessions and onboarding, hiring of, so like, a really good foundation on overall sporting experience was there for me, but it was like, what was next? And a good friend of mine was like, one of my best friends, his name's Kevin Garcia Lopez. He's like, yo, I think I'm gonna move on. And I was like, whoa, you're leaving? Hey, if you leave,
yeah, like, what am I gonna do?
You know what I mean? I was like, yo, we've been in this together. So when he said that, I was like, okay, well, what can I do? And so that's the moment where, like, in life, I was really looking for something, but I didn't know what I was looking for, right? I got connected to Snapchat, right? Yep. And that opportunity opened up, but because I put everyone else first throughout my day, I never got a chance to really fill out the application, and so then it closed. So a door closed.
Yeah.
But it's a cliche as to say, it's like one door closes, another one opens up, right? And the next day I got a message from a Nike recruiter, and like, again, I looked at it for some time, and Simi and Kayla could be attest to this. Like, they were a part of that journey and that process. And like, I was just so surprised, and I just didn't know how to feel about it. And like I told you, like when I was going through the interview process and I was meeting these people who talked about their journeys as well, it was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the timing couldn't be any more perfect. And like, you know, extremely blessed and grateful for it. And like, you know, when you feel like you're back in that competitive space again, that's what I feel like, right? Like Nike's one of the leading, like if not, no, Nike is the #1 leading in innovation in sports. Yeah. Right? Our business, it's high quality. Like we're going up against Adi, we're going up against Puma. Like that's our competition, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And every day, someone's trying to get better. And I felt that when I was a pro athlete, right? If not, every single day you're out there, you're training because you want to get on the 18. You're training because you want to get on pitch. You're training because you want to start, like all these things. And you can wake up one day and they can tell you that, hey, look, you got to go home. Yeah, exactly. That's the pro environment most people don't know about. So like being at Nike now, it almost is a dream because it's giving me back everything that I know I can operate in that space, you know, and the team it's a team again, right? And there's, it's awesome. Like I got a manager, like I have a manager who's like a coach, you know, and I go and he's so open to where I can ask him anything. You know what I mean? And
that's tight.
It's awesome.
It's a great environment.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because when I went from being a professional athlete into business, it's synonymous, right? Yeah. Like a lot of the same things, like you were saying, like your mentors, your coaches, you know, it's all the same stuff we're taught through lessons. But like the thing that people would always ask me is like, do you miss football? And I'm like, of course I miss football. Like what I miss the most, I think, would be the competition in that team environment. But like I get that on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where like I'm getting that team environment. I'm getting that competition when I go and I sit down. At the time I was just getting into real estate. Yeah. I was like in the weeds of it, like sitting down, meeting with homeowners, and then I'm going up against somebody else that wants to sell their house. And I'm like, I'm going to win. You know what I mean? Like that competition is so powerful, right? Like where like for us, like as you transition out of sport into like that professional world, I think that when you can put yourself into an environment where you still have that competition, where you still have that team camaraderie, it's a very nice thing. It's an easier transition, right? Like
you still feel like you can grow.
Correct.
That's it, right? You want to feel like, and maybe I'm crazy, maybe we're crazy about wanting to continue to grow, but I feel like that's what keeps life going. Right, and I kind of learned that from my daughter. Like seeing her at age 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and take in new things each moment, every day. It's just like, well, why should I stop learning? Correct. Why should I like not do something new or try something different? Right, like it's awesome, just the evolution of it all.
It's that concept of you'll never. I keep saying this and I keep repeating it off of different podcasts, but it's like that concept of like, you'll never know everything, but we can chase knowing everything. But we need to understand we'll never know it, right? Yeah. And that's so powerful, right? Because every day, if I can just become a little bit better, I don't need to be 100% better tomorrow. I just need to be like 1%, 0.5%, 1/4%. Like I just need one step forward, half a step.
But where did you learn that?
Right?
Through
sport.
Right?
It's as an athlete, right? Like I was, the difference between like me and most players is like, I was never the best player. Like growing up when I was younger, right? When I decided I want to play pro, right? I got cut from my first club team. Yeah. Right? Like, and then I go to this other club team and we're last place in bronze and I played goalkeeper and we lost every game 5-0. Yeah. Like, shows you how good we were. And I was saying I'm going to play pro, right? Yeah. But like, I just went out and outworked every single person. And I believe in that I forgot who said it, but there's always someone out there getting better than you by working harder than you, period. Yeah. And I think that if we take that mentality from sport to our lives on a daily basis, like who else is taking in as much information as me? Yeah. Who else is stepping to the plate every single time, right? Yeah. Like that's where we're
open to learning, right?
Correct.
Like just being allowing life to coach you and you being open to life coaching you through the life experiences.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like, it's every bit of it is just, and then you
I love that. I love that. Allowing life to coach you, right? Like,
yeah,
because crazy. That's one of the best teachers.
It's literally, and it's, you get to look back and you get to look at all the values of it. You get to look at the journey and appreciate. Like, I'm forever grateful for every coach and person who's walked and impacted my life. Like, honestly, there's not one person I can look back to, no matter what, good doing, wrong doing, and be like, no, you didn't teach me anything. If anything, you taught me something, and I'm appreciative of it.
Yeah, you can learn from every single thing that happens in your life, right? Like you can learn from a coach that you don't like, because that's going to teach you exactly what you don't want to do when you come into that space.
Imagine when you become a coach, right?
Right? Like, or it's going to teach you how you don't want to treat your teammates or your players, or it's going to make you, step up into a different role, right, within the team to be able, there's so many things, but it's the same thing in every day that we deal with. I mean, every day I can drive down the street and someone cuts me off. I got a choice to flip them off, tell them to F off, blah, 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 or move on.
Yep.
And like, the reality is like, every single thing that we do, we can learn from.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a very interesting, and you brought up your daughter. It's like the same thing. Like for me, it's my niece. Like understanding, like, I can say something, and like, that is soaked in.
Yep.
That is a sponge.
Yep.
So if I go and I make the wrong move, she's forever like she
just
knows
taking it in.
Yeah.
Just taking it in.
And it's like, I got to focus on the right moves. I got to focus on the right actions, which the right action is just, can we continually get better? Yeah. Yes, we all make mistakes, but can we just tomorrow do a little bit better?
Yeah.
And then teach the next generation to do the same thing, right? Exactly. And to be okay with that, like, okay with those mistakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
no, for sure.
So what's next for you, right? Like, you're with Nike.
Yeah.
You're creating some of the coolest, like I said, like the tools that we use on a daily basis, right? What's next?
Yeah, what's next? I think when I think career-wise, it's one, elevating the role I'm in.
Yep.
How can I elevate it? How can I get better? How can I tap in the fundamentals of being the best version, right? When I think life, I started coaching youth sports.
Yeah.
So I coach on the girls' side, and I just feel like I have this like calling to really, really impact in a positive way, right? Like, just these experiences that I went through, right, while trying to grow something special. So I coach at a small club, and we're growing. And it's awesome to see them grow. And of course, there's some bumps in the roads with things, but at the end of the day, when I go out there and I bring the energy and I bring the smile and I bring, the enthusiasm and the passion, I know that these young players are taking it in, and they're being impacted. Because again, I wish I had someone like me doing this for me. I had people in my life, but again, I feel like a lot of my career was pushed by my surroundings, and the people I surrounded myself with, and so to be that type of influence to these young players, and while also using my network of people, right, to bring them in, because as well as me being a head coach, I strongly believe they need a strong female influence, right? And so calling on athletes that I know that are trying to make a difference and impact, who have a good heart, right, who have good stories to tell, right, bringing them to the environment and them talking to them, and them hearing, like, you don't have to go to the biggest club, right? You don't, there's going to be times you're going to say you want to quit. It's okay. We've all gone through that.
Person.
We've all gone through those times where we looked at it like, am I supposed to do this? Is this for me? Do I want to be here? Right? But having that good supportive cast or group of people, when it comes from family, a coaching staff, and friends that are there to support you through this, is important, right?
I love that.
And that was just kind of like the linear message across the board from each athlete when they spoke to the young girls. And so continuously trying to do that while, just kind of growing the game for her with Nike as well. Yeah. Right? Like, that's kind of it. I think the future for me is continuing to grow the game for her, whether it's in my professional life, whether it's in my coaching life.
I love that.
And raising my daughter. Like, and then as well as, like, all we have are memories. Like, You know, it's been kind of slowed, but it's also been super cool to see people wear product that I created a year ago, 2 years ago, and wearing it religiously in the streets and still telling that message, right? Like at the end of the day, all we have are memories. Like what we're doing here is a memory that I'm going to hold on to. Because, you know, as much as this is a podcast, people are listening, it's almost a therapy session for myself, right? Going through the past, going through the present, and looking back at all those things going, wow, damn, that was my journey.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's me, right? Like that's crazy. Like, but also like, you know, bringing back the memes so that people can feel that, you know, and giving people time to create those memes so that when they see a new memes product, they look at that and they go, oh, wow. Like, this is awesome. Like, you know, so still preaching that, still living that. So what's next? Jeez, I don't even think I said what's next.
Well, you did, right? Like, it's like this thought process of like growing the game and continuing like that growth, right?
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I mean, like for me, you know, when you look at like life, I think that's the hack. I think the hack is understanding like we're never going to be perfect. Just continue to grow and continue to just try to better ourselves in everything that we're doing. These little things are, you know, whether it's like you said, like growing, you know, teaching the girls that you're coaching, or you know, everything with Nike or whatever, like just continuing to better yourself in each of these roles, and then we win, right? So I got two more questions for you. One question is if somebody is in your shoes at age 15 and doesn't make their high school soccer team, and is told they're not good enough, is told they started too late, or whatever, what piece of advice would you give them?
Find a safe place where you can continue to grow, develop, make mistakes. Watch the game. I don't think too many players watch the game anymore. Watch the game. It's the best moment. Find a player, see different things, ask questions, right? Why didn't you make it? Ask them. You know what I mean? Ask that coach, whoever that may be. Ask them why you didn't make it. Take the feedback. Take it on the chin. Move on, right? Work on yourself. And if that's the place you want to be, go back the next year.
Love it.
I mean, if that's not the place you want to be, find the next space.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Find your value. It just takes one coach to look at you and wanna pour into you and believe in you.
Keep going, don't stop. I love that. I love that. And then my second question is, where can people connect with you?
Yes. You can find me on Instagram, Akwafei Ajeakwa.
You got to spell that for the people.
Akwafei. I should be the only person who pops up when you type that in. So you can find me on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. And if you want to come out to a training session, all that stuff, whatever it is, you want to connect, hit me up. I'm open. I'm an open book.
Love it.
You know what I mean? I want to share my path and you would say my best practices. You know what I mean? To whoever is open to listening.
Love it. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here, bro.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Appreciate you.
Yep.